Well, right now, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is in South Korea after finishing his fourth trip to Pyongyang, where he met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
Pompeo says he had a good and productive meeting with Kim. He also told Kim that President Trump sends his regards. Joining me now, Gordon Chang, columnist for the Daily Beast and author of Nuclear Showdown, North Korea Takes on the World. Gordon, good morning to you. Pompeo's fourth trip now. The Secretary of State says he had a good and productive meeting, but how much really is being achieved up to this point?
I think actually very little is being achieved from our perspective, because time at this moment doesn't favor us. It favors Kim Jong-un. And the reason is he's been knitting together this coalition involving Russia and China, of course, but also South Korea. Now, we got to remember that if you go through the middle of May, President Trump had an unusually effective policy, and then he squandered the advantage. And now what we're seeing is the North Koreans playing for time.
So, are you saying that the president would be smart to go back to his previous tactics?
I think he would be very smart to go back to maximum pressure. We have relaxed pressure on the North Koreans because we're not designating most of their front companies. And also, we are letting the Chinese, the Russians, and the South Koreans to openly violate sanctions. We sort of complain about it in public. You hear, for instance, Ambassador Nikki Haley at the UN moan about this, but we're not doing very much about it. And so this is really within our control to change the narrative and to go back to tactics which actually pushed Kim Jong-un to make concessions where we were not making concessions. Now it's just flipped. We're making the concessions and Kim Jong-un is not doing anything, except, of course, smiling.
What do you make of this, this second summit? President Trump wants it. Kim wants it. We heard from South Korean President Moon Jae-in that he's optimistic about it. Should there be a second summit before significant progress on the commitments made during the first one?
I don't think so. I think Kim Jong-un believes that President Trump's instincts are going to help him. He doesn't like what his advisors are saying or what American political figures are saying. So we're seeing, for instance, an attempt to divide President Trump from the rest of the American political and policy establishments. We heard that in the foreign minister's speech at the UN General Assembly. He was very explicit about what he was trying to do. And so, of course, the North Koreans want to talk to Trump. But that's not in our interest at this time. What's in our interest is getting the North Koreans to live up to their commitments. And so far, they're just not doing that.
All right, Gordon Chang, always good to have your insight, sir. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, Victor and Christy.
Thank you so much for being here.